Hello everyone. I'm just going to repeat a few things, just on the back of what's already been said. But I am the artistic director of Gary Clark Company. We're a dance theatre company that make work that comments on both political and social issues. Yes, I'm from Grindthorpe. You should all know where that is. And yeah, grew up very much around the mining industry and grew up around the 84 miners' strike, and saw what that did to what was a very vibrant, colourful village like Grindthorpe was. So I must first and foremost say that I think it's amazing that this trust exists in the first place to help rebuild some of these broken communities. In 1995, I went to Willigarth High School, and we all took black helium balloons onto a hill, and we saw the demolition of the colliery come down, and we all released these balloons into the air. And it's at that point that things changed quite dramatically. And for me, it was a huge change, because it's at this point that I discovered art and creativity as a way of coping with these very grim and grey realities. A lot of my friends and peers turned to drugs and crime and violence, and I wanted a different outlet. So for me, that was movement. And I used to go into my bedroom and play very, very loud techno music and throw my body around vigorously as a way of dealing. It was an emotional response to what was happening on the streets and what was happening, not just in Grindthorpe, but all around the country around that turbulent time. So for me, the access into movement didn't come through privilege. You didn't go to ballet when you were 3 if you were a boy. This was way before the time of Billy Elliot. And people have described me as the real Billy Elliot, because our stories are very, very similar. Through various inspirational teachers and colleagues, I then went to train at the Northern School of Contemporary Dance in Leeds and graduated with a dance degree. And since then I've been working in the industry, both as a choreographer and as a dancer. And it's whilst I was working in the industry, I realised that something was missing, and it was working class storytelling through the medium of dance. And I think, we tell the story of the miners' strike and what happened through film and television and documentary, but not so contemporary dance. And I wanted to see if I could fill that gap, and that's why I created Coal. One of my main ambitions with Coal was, can I get ex-coal miners into a theatre, for one, and for two, to come and see contemporary dance? Is that possible? It was an experiment, and we brought Coal to life. And I'm really proud to stand here today and say that we achieved that. And we toured coal all around the country, and coal miners and their families came in their hundreds to see the show and had such an emotional response to what they were seeing. And they really believed that we as a company were adding to this legacy. So as a company, we're very, very proud of what we've achieved, and we will continue to keep doing so through the work that we create. It brought together 6 contemporary dancers and a big collaborative team, and it felt wrong for us to make a piece about community and not involve communities. So as part of the production, we would go around the country and we would look for women from local coal mining communities and bring them into the production, and they would play the role of the miners' wives and the Women Against Pit Closures movement. And sometimes we can overlook that element to it, and I really wanted to bring that right to the forefront. So we worked with amazing women from different backgrounds and experiences who came into the production and did such an amazing job, and we completely changed lives by this element. A lot of the women had never even been on stage before, and now they're going to more theatre, they're commenting more on politics, they're being more active in the arts scene. And again, we're really proud of that element. We also worked with championship brass bands all around the country, where we would invite a new band from each area in to play the evocative score. They were championship brass bands, all colliery bands. We had the luxury and the privilege to work with bands like Carlton Lane Frickley, Thoresby Colliery Band and Hatfield Colliery Band. And just for a few statistics, we were awarded money from the Arts Council of England to tour coal nationally and internationally over 2.5 years. We did 30 venues across the country with 54 performances. We had audiences of 16,828. Our areas of low engagement were 53%, and our participants that we worked with was 10,579. And we worked with 90 community pit women and 14 championship brass bands with 86 players. So thank you. Cole also won a UK Theatre Award, as been mentioned, a Critics Circle National Dance Award and a Night of Illumination Award. And I stand here as a very, very proud choreographer of that work. So Wasteland is the sequel to Cole. As part of our national tour of Cole, we used to have question and answer sessions, a bit like this today. And it's during one of these sessions that a hand went up into the audience, and it was the hand of my brother, who is 7 years older. And he said, "Gary, the story's not over. What about us? What about the next generation? What happened to us?" And suddenly I thought, I have a sequel. The story is not over, and I believe this is why this trust is here today. So Wasteland looks at what happened 10 years after the miners' strike. It's set in 1994, and it looks at how two different generations coped in a turbulent era of radical upheaval. It brings together again the same collaborative team with Cole and 6 professional dancers. I also wanted to continue my commitment to working with communities in Wasteland. And similarly with Cole, wherever the production goes, we now work with groups of men from each area, all who will have a connection with the mining industry in one way, shape or form. And they play the role of ex-coal miners who are no longer in work. We also reconnect with the brass bands that we worked with in Cole. We had such a fantastic relationship with these bands that I wanted to continue that journey. So we've already started to tour the piece and work with these communities. We're halfway through a national tour. We start back again in February, and we've just been confirmed that we've got the money to tour throughout Scotland as well. So if you do want to catch it, then please do come and see the work. I think it'll really resonate with this audience here today. So what we've got for you today is an extract of Wasteland. I felt it really important to bring the community along today. So we've invited 4 of our community members from Yorkshire. It's totally out of context, so we're literally just picking bits up and putting them on this stage today. So to get the full show, please come and see it on tour. It's from Act 1 of the show, where we see a group of miners out of work and I guess kind of looking back again about how, you know, why this trust was born and brought to today, before any support was available. And I guess what I need to say is, whilst the emotion of loss was and still is raw, it's great to see that there is support out there for these communities. And I guess that the message is that there's still tremendous strength in these communities. So that's enough from me. Without further ado, I'd like to just welcome onto the stage the cast and players from Wasteland. We've got our community singers, and we're also privileged to have 2 brass players from Grindthorpe Colliery Band and Carlton Main Frickley Colliery Band. Thank you.
It would have been better if we'd have won, and that's the only sorry part about it. That we didn't achieve what we set out to do. We got beat and we paid an heavy price for it. The irony is that Thatcher's so-called enemy within displayed all the qualities which she so admires in herself. Courage, grit, determination, stubbornness, and fighting spirit. We went to bitter end to defend what we believed in, and this extended much further than our little corner of England. We were a beacon for millions of workers all over the world. We represented a great part of this nation. We never were the enemy within. But old King Cole is dead. The passing of an industry that once powered the Industrial Revolution and fueled an empire has now been consigned to history books. It's the end of an era and the beginning of an era. Within 10 years, they've shut nearly every pit down that Britain has and replaced it with nothing. The mining industry, done, gone, wiped out. But it's not just pits that are closing. Factories, mills, breweries, shops, shipyards and warehouses. Everything's closing. We've got record levels of unemployment, wages being driven down, crime at an all-time high. These are the scars of defeat. The young, robbed of their future. What's left for them? There's young kids roaming the streets, bored senseless. They should be working. They want to work, poor bastards. And we had an industry like that in this village. It's a bloody disgrace. We'll always be miners. You'll never take coal dust out of our lungs. Smile, lads. You've lost your jobs.
It stands so proud, the wheels so still, a ghost-like figure on the hill. It seems so strange, there is no sound, now there are no men underground. What will become of this pit yard, where men once trampled faces hard? So tired and weary, their shift done, and never having seen the sun. Will it become a sacred ground, with foreign tourists gazing round, asking if men once worked here, way beneath this pit headgear, where empty trucks once filled with coal, lined up like men on the dole? Will they ever be used again, or left for scrap just like the men? There'll always be a happy hour for those with money, jobs and power. They'll never realize the hurt they cause to men they treat like dirt.
much.